I feel validated
Yeah.
for my talks on immigration and how there have been illegals here way more than anybody suspected. Like, I
Yeah.
don't remember how much the Bureau of Immigration was claiming. I think they said 20 million
They
illegals,
said like
something like
20
that.
million on the high end, which seems like probably
On
more than
the
that came in under Biden.
But 20 million throughout the entire U.S. is
Yeah.
what they were saying. I was claiming close to 50 million in California. Now I know that might have been an exaggerated number.
50 million in
They
just
claim
California?
that was my number.
That
I
seems probably
obviously I
high.
have no scientific evidence for this.
Yeah.
All right, and I understand that it sounds crazy. I only know about here in California. I grew up here in California. I've always lived here in California.
I mean,
I've never lived
for
in
people who
anywhere
don't
else.
know, you're Mexican. You have family members who are not
I'm
in the country legally.
first.
You're in the trenches
I'm
of this
first
stuff.
generation. I'm first generation American here. I was born to Mexican immigrants. Everybody before that was a Mexican immigrant. My parents were the first in their families to have U.S. citizenship. I am at the forefront of this. I know people from all the way down in Mexicali, all the way up to Sacramento. I span almost the entire fucking state here.
Okay.
And so I know that there's like, everybody talks, when people think of California, they only think about the big cities, LA, San Francisco, Sacramento. That's about it. They forget about the absolute shitholes that we live in the middle of the fucking country, i.e., like Fresno, Bakersfield, fucking McFarland. These absolute dog shit cities that the only thing keeping them together is farming and oil. That's all that's here. People like to think there's more. There's like Lancaster, which has a military base, but they don't hire that many fucking Mexicans. They only hire a certain amount of people. It's not that big of an economy off of a military base, even though people like to believe there is. And so the only thing holding these fucking cities together is farming and oil. The oil field, they like to say that they're American bred workers here, drill your own oil. It's fucking Mexican. All right,
Yeah.
It's Mexicans.
Everything's back. I mean, every restaurant in New York City. I don't know what it's like in other parts of the country, but if you go into a kitchen in any restaurant in New York City, it's all Mexicans basically.
It's like that across the entire country. When I went to Washington State for a job, every single restaurant there, it's all Mexican. Every single restaurant in Oregon, it's all Mexican. It's here in California. They're all Mexicans. They're Mexicans for restaurants, for moving companies, for your plumbing, your yard work, all the stereotypical things that you think of Mexicans doing, they're fucking doing it. And so when people say, oh, it's not that many, I go, you don't understand. The housing isn't there for it, right? There aren't enough houses to house the 20 million illegal immigrants.
Right.
But they don't live like normal Americans think they do. They are, like your other caller was saying, they are living 10 families into like a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And people go, why would they live like that? Because they're used to living in dirt.
Right. And you can save a lot of money, right?
And you guys, not only do you save a lot of money, some of these guys live like this, and they're sending half of their fucking paycheck back to Mexico to their actual families. And they're going, my family's over there living great. I have to work here for 10 years, and I can go retire over there.
Right.
Even now, when like the cost of living is so high, they can still do that. And people don't, for some whatever reason, aren't thinking about that or think that's not a real thing. I go, you don't understand. It's more real now than it is ever. And listen, I'm only aware about the Mexicans and some of the Indians.
Yeah, Indians in Canada do that exactly. Yeah, Indians in Canada do that exact same thing where they'll live like many families to a house, and then eventually they save up and they own the house, and then that's kind of how they build wealth.
And that's right, because they don't want to keep flying back and forth between India and Canada. They take their little spot here, and they just start flying in relatives, and then the relatives do the exact same thing. And that's how Indians very quickly started to take over most of these communities, right? People like to talk about how, like in Bakersfield, for example, there are certain corners of that city that are 95% Indian.
Wow.
Right? Like entire neighborhoods, 95% Indian. And you go, how is this possible? It's exactly that. One guy came in, lived, 10 of his brothers, all of them in one spot, and they just started slowly expanding from there. And it's literally like a plague. I'm not calling them a plague. I don't hate Indians.
Yeah.
I'm not calling them a plague. I'm saying the way they spread is plague-like.
Yeah.
Not
well, I mean, the fact is
if Americans did this.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact is Americans just like can't comprehend living like that. Like there's nothing stopping, if you have a big family and you're all American born, there's nothing stopping anybody from doing that. There's just the idea of they're like, we're going to live like that. I don't want to live like that. That seems horrible because they're not thinking far ahead. They're more thinking for the present, where all these immigrant families that go, yeah, we know what it's like back home, which is probably what you're saying, where you go, yeah, if we go back home, we live like this anyways. So we might as well live like this here and just get ahead.
What? Where they have AC and running and clean water.
Yeah.
Right? It makes perfect sense. I can't hate on them. Right? The hustle, right? Don't hit the player, hit the game. It makes perfect sense. If I was in their situation, I'd do the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But to then think like imagine this. Like, part of the problem with it is the fact that they're sending half of their money away. They don't spend their money here. Their money is spent on rent, food, water, and power, and that's it. They're not spending their money here. They're sending half of it back home to then have them, spend their money on different countries.
Right.
And I'm like, how are we not worried about this at all? That this is partially why our money is so why inflation is so bad. Half of the money is just leaving the fucking country.
I know, and there's nothing. I mean, there's no way. I know Trump wanted to put a 1% tax on remittances, but I don't even 1%. I don't know if that would. People would be like, they would just pay it,
What the fuck it would do?
Yeah, I don't know what 1% would do.
Yeah, it's.
But also, if you put too high of a tax on it, there's ways around it. I'm sure people would figure out, a million loopholes.
I mean, they might just start taking the cash with them and flying back.
Yeah. There's a million ways around it. Exactly.
Right, or buy stuff here and sell it over there. It doesn't fucking matter. What I'm saying is, I only know about these two specific communities. I only know about Mexicans and Indians, right? I do not know about what I was told is that when my parents first moved here, the Chinese community and the Japanese community was massive, right?
Yeah.
But they were the Mexicans. They were Mexicans before us.
Yeah,
I don't know where the fuck they went.
I mean, they're probably lots of in New York City, I know a lot of people are yeah, my landlord's Chinese. They probably have had enough time here where they're yeah, now we own property and we have money and stuff, and they kind of eventually you don't have to live like that.
Right. Maybe they moved from California to another state. I don't know, but what I'm saying is I gave you a number only off of these two communities. If you add in the other communities, the guy who called in saying that these guys are coming from Venezuela and Brazil or fucking Colombia, pick yourself.
Anybody.
One of those shithole countries.
Yeah.
Pick your shithole country in the middle. Who the fuck cares nowhere? It makes perfect sense that they would be coming over here, sitting 10 families deep, and you just go, oh shit, there's only a house here. There must be one family. The population's 10x what you think it is.
Yeah. Like the census, they go knock on the door and they go, how many people live here? And they're like 3, and it's 30.
Yeah. Right. So it's one of those things where people the census says, 30 million people living in this one state. It legitimately might be 300 million. It legitimately.
Yeah, I don't know about the population of California is 300 million.
Listen, I know. I'm just speaking out of my ass. It more likely would be 100 million. If they say 30, it might be 100 million. Right, double.
I mean, I've heard many stories in New York City of because all the construction workers are all Mexican or Central American or whatever, but it is a regular thing where you it's a 1-bedroom apartment and 10 guys live there. And they all just pay $300 a month, and they just live there until they save up enough money. Because you probably make decent money doing construction in New York, and they just save up all the money, send it back, and then eventually, I guess, dip.
Yeah, exactly that. And when they dip, guess what? There's a new guy trying it out too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if you know this, if you live in some country and you go, that's the deal. You move to America 10 years, just work your ass off, live like shit, and then you get to move back to wherever you're from and you're rich now and set for life. It's probably for a lot of people, you go, that's pretty attractive.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Like I said, I'm not hating on them. I just kind of hate that we allowed this shit to happen.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, some people were calling me crazy for estimating 50 million illegals, and now that there's more people talking about it, it's no, you don't understand. it's not just here in California that the illegals are concentrating in. They're all over the country.
Yeah,
so
I
just want to say I feel vindicated for that the people are starting to come out and go, hey, he was right.
When you were a kid in school, were there tons of illegals who were like your classmates?
A ton. Listen, as a child, I wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah, you weren't aware of people's immigration status.
Listen, I wasn't aware at the time. All I can tell you about is my personal family growing up, and out of my personal family growing up, it was just my parents who were legal immigrants.
Right.
Everybody else was illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And you got to figure that
the first house that I remember.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The first house that I remember, it was a 3-bedroom, and it was 8 families.
What?
It was 8 families of us, something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, it was 1 family per room, 1 family living in the 2 families living in the garage. They had built a wall in between and built like partial rooms or whatever the fuck they would be called.
Yep.
I think we had a family in the living room, a family in the dining room, and then we had a shed in the back. There was another family in there.
That's insane. And who's renting this place out? Like, who owns the place? Just like a landlord?
It was a guy that my uncle knew.
Oh, okay. And so he knows the deal.
Had come to America. That dude had come to America beforehand, and all he said was like, "Listen, I know what you guys do here. Just make sure rent's paid on time."
Right, and he probably charges a little more rent for that fact because I know a lot. Like if my landlord fucking showed up and I had 8 families living in my apartment, they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here! Like you can't do this." But I guess if you have other people who did the same thing. Were a little earlier and they're like, I own the place now. They're a little more chill with it and they know the deal and they just go, yeah, that's fine. As many people as you can cram in here, go ahead.
Dude, this was 2001. The dude was probably charging $1,600 for a house in 2001, which the house was probably, it made more sense to charge, average rent would have probably been $1,000. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, whatever. So he charges a bit of a premium, but it's spread out among 30 people, so everybody's
It's spread out enough that it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, every person's $50 a month, and you're like, okay, that's totally doable.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know how they could. Yeah, I don't know how they could ever fix that other than just sealing the border. But even at this point, you're like, yeah. Well, I mean, I would love to just get a census of what is going on in this country. Canada too, for that matter. Like, how many people are actually here? You probably could with phones and stuff too. You could probably get a decent idea if you just did like cell phone plans and stuff like that.
Most likely now.
Yeah.
Just how many cell phones are being bought in these cities?
Yeah, how many cell phones? Like how many? Just like they probably could get like a rough idea. And you know what? They probably do. They probably have looked into this and they probably do know, and they just don't want to say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're right.
Yeah.
Just how many cell phones are bought in this area? Yeah.
I mean, how many texts are getting sent from unique numbers, and they probably could figure. But if they came out and they go, "Hey, we just crunched the numbers. There's 500 million people here," people would fucking lose it.